Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman.
Unity, peace, blessings. We're all part of one family. I just got to say, I think I know what the problem is with the traffic system around here. I just learned. It's called Massey Ferguson tractors. You know the score? Mayor, Honorable Deputy Mayor, should I say, Brother Tangi, yes? Okay, and councillors, friends, Romans, countrymen. I haven't come to bury Caesar. I've come to bury the hatchet, in fact. Really, this trip is a trip of a lifetime. I have to say, I don't think this is ever going to happen. I hope it's never going to happen again, right? But it's been an awesome trip because so far, New Zealand is really a wonderful place. I have to say that. Was it founded by my brothers and sisters in the UK? I don't know. And also, the people of New Zealand seem to have something very special about them. Maybe it's you're more human than my brothers and sisters back in the UK right now. By the way, I'm from Leicester. Does anyone know Leicester? Yeah? You know, City of Champions? Once. Leicester Tigers? Yeah? Rugby team? Great. I'm glad you know me. We essentially, in Leicester, I have a center. In fact, you plagiarized my talk, and you know you did. I was going to talk about what you talked about. But anyway, we have a wonderful center, and I'm trying to replicate it worldwide. It's called the City Retreat. It's in Leicester. It's right in the town center. And the reason why I put it in the town center, because human beings naturally start sort of flocking together like birds of a feather. You know, the eagles fly with the eagles and the doves with the doves, and you know the rest of it. And so what I did was, being a new Muslim, a new old Muslim, because I embraced Islam about 28 years ago after a struggle of around 11 years, you know, I decided that we did not want to ghettoize and further ghettoize. We want to go out into the town center, bring the Muslim guys and girls, and have them engage with the wider community. A lot of people actually thought I was a bit mad, you know. Probably was. But what we did was we started to actualize Islam. Rather than talking about Islam, because talk is cheap. And actions, whilst you have to exert energy, you have to use your intellect, you have to draw on all your experiences. The results of those good actions are amazing. They're just absolutely amazing. I'm going to tell you a couple of the stories, and it will help us to try and, work out a way that we can go forward as a human family that will stop or lessen the likelihood, because it's, humans are humans, lessen the likelihood of something like Christchurch ever happening again. So, does anyone know what the EDL is? The EDL? You guys, you don't want to know. Do you know who they are? Yeah, the English Defence League. In fact, they don't really defend England at all. But so we set up an organization called the EDL. We call it the real EDL. It was the Elderly Defence League. So we went out and we sought out the elderly people that unfortunately people had forgotten. Because when you get old, and I'm testimony to that because I'm not a millennial. Yeah, I'm one of the older guys, born in the 60s. And, really, people on social media, I've got a lot of followers on social media, but, suddenly, like 10 days goes by and then no one knows you again. Have you noticed that? Does anyone notice that? Yeah? So you might have a massive following on social media. Everyone likes you, yeah? But suddenly, like literally, days go by, months go by, years go by, and no one knows you, So the elderly are right at the sort of cutting edge of that, And a lot of people have forgotten them. So we set up an organization, we looked after them, alhamdulillah, thank God. And then, see, Islam is about connectivity. Really, it's about humanity, and it's about connectivity, and it's about sharing, okay? So what we did was when I opened up the center, the first thing we did was to clean up the streets, yeah? Because the streets were a little bit messy around there. We didn't blame the council, of course. We just got out and did it. Because, okay, we pay our taxes, but we can't keep blaming them, And, some guys used to come over to me and sort of say to me, Yusuf, why are you doing the council's job, man? I pay my taxes. And I say to them, look, at the end of the day, guys, we can wait for them to come, or we can do it ourselves. And it was an incredible reaction of the neighbors. The neighbors were saying, this is amazing. This is the first time this has happened in a long time. Why are you doing it? I'm saying, well, because I'm part of the human family, I live with you, and we like to live in a cleaner street. They all agreed. Fine. They said, we'll support you in it. So we started to create, this is called localism, I believe, right? This is where you start to create a movement based upon the needs of your neighborhood. Now, the Prophet Muhammad, Ibn Abdullah, the son of Abdullah, he said, or the inference being, in fact, from the scholars, that there's 40 neighbors this side and there's 40 neighbors this side. And he said, the one who goes to bed at night knowing that he's got a full belly, and we have lots of full bellies these days, guys, knowing that the neighbor has no food in their belly, do they even believe? You see what I mean? So 40 neighbors this side, 40 this side, and 40 behind, and 40 in. So we started to develop neighborly programs, and it's really, people come to our center now and they say, what is this place? Because it doesn't have any domes, it doesn't have any minarets, it has no Arabic writing, it has nothing to stop them coming in. Right? It's just a center. And they say, oh, this is a church? If you want it to be, come in. And the guy will sit there reading the Bible. I say, by the way, there's another Bible over here. So we engage with people. Real human connectivity. Over the years, by the way, my father's Irish, right? So I'm kind of Irish. And over the years, being a Muslim, I've come across difficulties, and I've come across some really hilarious situations, really. I mean, the Irish, of course, in the 50s and the 60s, they came to rebuild Britain. So they built the roads, they built the train lines, they were parts of the factory, etc. And my father was one of them. So he used to tell me about, when I met him, latterly, he used to tell me about the fact that there were signs outside the pubs, no dogs, no blacks, no Irish, you see? And of course, they used to spend a lot of time in the pubs, by the way. My father was in there every night. But when I met him, and I met him after around 20 years, he disappeared. My mother and father disappeared, separated. And he used to joke to me a lot. And he said to me one day, he said, Tim, you see, I'm proud of you. I said, Dad, what do you mean by that? Why are you proud of me? He said, well, you see, you're gone from the IRA to al-Qaeda. I said, Dad, for goodness sake, leave it out, man, Now he said, I seen you getting off the plane with that bin Laden. The other day, this is the Irish humor, right? But you see where he's coming from, right? He knows the score when it comes to people putting upon people because they're being othered. They've become othered. They're the others. And othering means to dehumanize people. It means that you are capable, or that person can be the target of anything, including what we saw in Christchurch. Okay? And of course, it's happening worldwide. Othering is happening in India today. We have Muslims being slaughtered mercilessly in India, even some other communities, the Sikh community, so on and so forth. They're standing actually with the Muslims because they've been othered as well. We have the situation that happened in Rwanda. You know? What are you smiling at me for? You othering me? You know, Rwanda, over 100 days, 1 million people were mercilessly killed. You know, not just killed, the manner of the killing suggested that they'd lost connectivity with each other. Humans, the Hutus and the Tutsis, they'd lost connectivity with each other. The third party, or a group of individuals, were using this to further their aims, to get economic power, to get economic wealth. The rise of the far right is something very worrying. In Europe, it's going on. We've got Boris Johnson as our prime minister right now, who referred to our sisters that wear the niqab as letterboxes. You know, this is a prime minister. Would you hear of anything like this in New Zealand? Perhaps not. I hope not. From the honourable members of parliament that we've met and councillors we've met, certainly they don't have that malice inside them. I hope not. Am I right? Everyone's nodding. Great, good news. Good. You're right. Wonderful. Keep it that way, guys. The way that we're going to keep it like that is to know each other, to try to really have connectivity with each other. That's why I mentioned about neighbors. So the neighbors need to meet neighbors just for the sake of knowing each other. You know, nations and tribes to know each other, like these guys have mentioned earlier on. And so there was a couple of other things that we did. We met Paul in the center. Now, Paul is an EDL, hardened EDL member. He's also a football fan. Did you have football fans here? Yeah? You have rugby fans don't beat each other up. No, they don't beat each other up. Come on, man. I've been to rugby. There's no hooligans, is there? There, in England, there's a culture. Hey? Really? Okay. You othering them? I mean... No, I mean, the point being that, you know, in England, there's a whole culture of casuals, football casuals, yeah? One of them's my friend. He's just written a book about it, and he's got a play about it now. His name is Riaz Khan. Yeah? Yeah, have a look at read his book, and hopefully go and see the play. Well, if it comes to a theatre near you soon, eh? Yeah, he's having a smashing time. No, so he's obviously gone away from that life, and now he's now a teacher at DMU University in Leicester. But his mate, Paul, came into the center anyway, so he occupied us for about 3 hours. That day, he was questioning us. He said, "You're a Muslim center, aren't you?" You know, and he was really being very threatening. He was going to, you know, he wanted to know why we were here in the city center. Leicester's my city. It's not yours. And over a period of, like I said, 2-3 hours, lots and lots of cups of tea, offers of samosas and God knows what, we managed to calm him down, right? Now, and then after that, we invited him to some of the programs we were doing, because we had Help the Homeless, we had Homeless Sleepover, We had a lot of engagement. We had sort of interfaith organization stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. You know, you've got the picture. And at the end of it, he just left. He walked out. He came back the day after with an envelope, 500 quid, and gave it to us. You see? So now what? So the thing is, you've got to be out of the comfort zone to have that happening. We've all got to realize, if we want to teach each other about our ways, you're a Christian, I'm a Muslim, he's a Jew, she's an atheist, whatever, we have to think out of the box and actualize our faith or no faith by showing Islam truly is a beautiful way of life. We've managed to get rid of an awful lot of hate. Thank God. The last one I want to tell you about, which is even more frightening. I'm not a fighter, right? My father was a boxer, right? And he was also he used to dig the roads and stuff, and he liked the drink. And he said to me when I first met him after 20 years, he said, "Tim, let's have a look at your mitts." That means your hands, yeah? He said, he looked at the hands like that. He said, "You're a wimp." I said, "Dad, thanks. Lovely to know you too after 20 years. And anyway, he said, "Now look at these. You see these mitts?" I looked at them, the fingers were like 3 times the size of mine, you know. He said, "You know about these, yeah?" He said, "These have done more tarmac jobs than you've had hot dinners, Tim." He said, "Do you know what a tarmac job is, Tim?" He said, "When I put them on a tarmac with these," he says, you know. Anyway, that was my dad. The first time I meet my dad as an adult, by the way. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this. Do you? So anyway, I met up with a group of guys who were having real problems with a place called the Peace Center. So they'd opened a peace center in a predominantly white area called Thurmby Lodge. And the council, Gurnodham, gave them one of the prime buildings in the middle of the community. Good stuff, guys. Well done. Community cohesion. So these guys obviously reacted. So they all got together, all the EDL, English Defense League, or not really English Defense League, but you know what I mean. And they rallied around the place. They got pigs' heads and threw them outside the mosque, and they basically hurled abuse every night when they come and pray, and they do all manner of nasty stuff. See, now that could have gone 2 ways, right? That could have been violence on this side met with violence on that side, right? Or let's work out a strategy where we can get them talking to each other. So just so happened that there was going to be a carnival run by the local community. So I got the Muslim community to open up a big stall there with lots of curry. Do you know what I mean? It's a secret to a man's heart, you know, in England. It's the staple diet. In fact, it's chicken tikka masala is our national dish, by the way. Did you know that? Yeah, you got it? Yeah, you like it too here? Butter chicken? Right. That's what he likes. No, so anyway, as it went on, we had this big stall there. And lo and behold, the same group of people turn up, looking very angry, aggressive, and ready for blood. So what I did was I bought a load of streetwise guys who were soft here, but hard here, right? So I put them on the stall, and slowly but surely, we picked one by one during the day, and it was really hairy, believe me. One by one, we had a chat with them. And after the 6-7 hours, after about 6 or 7 hours, there was no one standing against us. Absolutely no one standing. They were all part of the crowds. And they'd eaten their curry. They'd eaten all of the samosas. And every penny that we got, I told the guys who were organizing it, that has to go to charity for the real EDL, the Elderly Defense League. So we gave the check over to these guys, and to be honest, it was the end of the affair. It's not been seen ever since. You know, and I'm not trying to big myself up here. It's just we have to socially engineer. But it requires connectivity. It requires us to struggle. Guess what, guys? What's the term for jihad? Struggle. What does it mean? Struggle. It means you struggle in the community to bring peace. You struggle to bring goodness. You struggle to bring, a compromise between various, groups. So I think that, as much as I know about my own experiences, actualizing, Muslims out there particularly, actualizing your faith is wajib. Meaning, what does wajib mean? Compulsory. If you're going to just live in New Zealand, in your ghettos, praying in your mosques, praying in your houses, not prepared to explain what your faith is all about, it will increase the likelihood for people to do evil acts to us and to other people, So I would urge all of my brothers and sisters in humanity, in the faith of Islam, in this beautiful family that we have in New Zealand, to engage with one another, to actualize their faith. Whether you're Christian, actualize your faith. Muslim, actualize your faith. And to bring about harmony that we urgently, badly need as human beings. And that means, if you don't like something I've said today, write it down and tell me, right? Don't tell a third party and it becomes a media headline. That's the next thing, right? You know what he said? I don't like what he said. Well, why don't you tell him, mate? No. Anyway, thank you very much for coming to this this event, and may the Almighty God preserve the peace that we seem to have here in New Zealand, and allow it to perpetuate that togetherness, that goodwill factor that we have here worldwide. I mean, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you.